Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the reigning A1 Combat Bantamweight Champion, Payton Talbott.
I think when you're that deep in like the dichotomy between somebody who wants to kill you and you winning, you're able to exchange communication at a deeper level, which unfortunately in my case is violence. Being in the cage strips you of everything. And when you and another human are in there, just in that raw of an environment, you form this connection that I feel is divine.
Payton is also unlike any other student I've ever had. He is very coachable, but he also is a very, very deep thinker.
But I think it's time for Dana to give me a call and start beating up his golden boys. I don't think he can ignore me much longer, and I'm hungry right now, so feed him to me.
My name is Payton Talbott. I am a UFC fighter. I've always had an affinity for just violence and competitiveness, and throughout my youth I did wrestling and football, which are pretty heavy collision sports. And then once I turned like 17 or 18, I just found out about MMA. So I went into the closest gym to me and I fell in love with it like the first day.
Now, when he told me that he was gonna start, cage fighting, and he really loved the MMA, it was really hard for me. That's probably the hardest thing about being a parent, is just stepping back and just letting it happen.
I'm scared always. I'm always scared for this boy. So yeah, that never goes away. But I'm also very excited for him because this is technically like his first big UFC fight, like his debut. So I'm also very happy for him as well.
My dad, especially when I was younger, was pretty involved with sports and pretty hard on me at times.
He was a good dad for a while. But drugs and alcohol kind of got in the way of his life and being able to be a good parent. I had to make that decision to get out of that. And so that was really devastating for Payton. And I think that's one of the reasons why he decided to do MMA.
I love that I'm in the UFC now because it guarantees that I'm gonna fight a lot tougher people, and that's why I do what I do. I was a psychology major in college, so my whole MO is just like learning and defining my perspective through other people's. My opponent's name is Nick Aguirre. He's from Illinois, and he trains at the same gym as Yair Rodriguez, who's like high up in the UFC. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's gonna try to wrestle me like everyone else. I learned that he doesn't like mental games because as soon as our fight announcement got posted, I commented on it and I just said poor guy. And he blocked me immediately. I hate that. I like learning about my opponents. We're both doing the same thing. We're coworkers for the night. We should at least get along a little bit or be able to have some kind of banter. And when you block me, you just steal that from me.
Payton has a fighting style unlike anyone. He kind of messes with the strengths and the weaknesses of his opponents. And if we're fighting a specific opponent, I print up everything I can on him. I underline it. We work physically. We talk about it, so we have an awesome communication. And I love Payton because he's a very, very, very intelligent thinker.
My roommates are extremely supportive, but they just do it in their own way. Sometimes when I'm like, I need to go to bed by, 10 o'clock, they're not super supportive in the fact that I have to get rest for like the next day of training.
He trains like 7 days a week. He's like one of my role models, if I can like say that.
We work in the evening, and so during the daytime is usually when we've been spending a lot of time together, playing catch outside, just messing around. We just goof off.
With that side of him being super goofy adds this scariness to him while he's fighting, because while he's fighting, he's just like calm.
They are extremely supportive in whatever ways they can be. I don't ever need reinforcement from them of like, hey man, I'm proud of you, you're really doing your stuff. It's just like, I can just feel it from them when I'm around them, and the way they look at me is now different from the way they used to 5 years ago.
I'm gonna miss him when he like takes off, because I know he's gonna be a star in the next year or so.
Payton has a long career. With his intelligence and the way he trains and his amazing technique, I mean, he can go for years, It's kind of up to Payton. Payton weighed in, he always weighs in good, big weight, had a good weight cut.
The thing I did in the past, I starved myself a lot more than I had to, and what the nutritionist told me is that like, you don't really have to starve yourself. Way too good. Third one down the hatch, another aphrodisiac. I don't know why women can eat extremely hot foods and drink extremely hot things and men just like can't.
Tonight, I'm not really thinking about the fight at all.
Yeah, I just think the more you think about it, the more nervous you make yourself. And the biggest thing is just to stay present. Throughout everyday life and society, we have all of these things that we can bolster ourselves with, and we have all these camouflages that we could hide behind. But when you're in a cage and it locks and you're in there with somebody, all of your insecurities, all of your doubts, if you're being dishonest about anything about the fight, it will all come to light. You do have to be 100% yourself, or people will know, and you will know, your coaches will know, and your opponent will know. And if you're fighting me, I will know, probably before you. There is this like some level of pressure to rise to the occasion.
I've had a lot of struggles in my life, but that is probably the hardest thing I've done, is watch his fights.
I love to watch him do what he loves to do, but it's scary every time, because it's so violent and aggressive, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I don't know what the other guy is going to do, so.
The recurrence of just like fighting, like it's my job now, and it's also what I love. I don't have any doubts about the fact that I'm going to beat this guy, but I know that people expect me to do it in a very impressive way and display of talent, and I just want to show that as much as I can.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the Jones Division officially 58 seconds of round number 2. Your winner and still
I hope people can be inspired and define themselves through the contrast of me and them, but I hate that that's like what people see me as now. I want to give everybody all of me instead of just like, hey, I'm a fighter. It's like, it's suffocating, man. Like just how, it's like you even see it when people's Like when they look at you, just their eye contact is just different. People I knew before that now know me through this sort of persona, it's different, and it can do something to you if you're not prepared for it. So.
This guy's plays 3-4 different instruments.
I think the hardest thing for me is just adjusting and being okay with that, and just having peace with like nobody's gonna get to know the real story. People are going to only know me through a microscope of a camera lens. But I'm just like everybody else. I watch anime, I skateboard, I like to play video games. Above all else, I want to learn about people, and I want to learn about myself through other people. When you strip somebody's walls down and peel all of their layers like an onion, when people like show you their core late in the 3rd round, like I've just met some really, really cool people, and I've had some moments that have felt like they've lasted for an eternity.